Discovered, a billionaire's hidden struggle revealed the black Maid'S amazing, life-changing act. Marcus Thompson stood by the grand floor-to-ceiling windows of his sprawling estate, looking out at the manicured lawns that felt more like a prison yard than a home. The sunlight sparkled on the surface of the lake in the distance, a reminder of nature's beauty contrasting with the chaos that churned within him. A self-made billionaire at 40, he'd conquered the tech world, but in this moment, he felt utterly lost. His heart ached with an emptiness that no amount of wealth could fill. Success had come at a cost: loneliness, high expectations, and the stifling pressure to maintain an image everyone revered yet no one understood. Within the same house, Clara Johnson hummed quietly as she cleaned the vast kitchen, a warm smile touching her face despite the weight of her own struggles. A proud, resilient single mother, she had dedicated over a decade to the Thompson family, pouring love into every corner of their home. As she moved, she thought about her spirited 10-year-old daughter, dreaming of a brighter future for her. Clara's heart beat with hope and compassion, the very elements that created a comforting atmosphere in the otherwise cold mansion. The delicate balance of their lives shifted abruptly when the doorbell rang, echoing through the quiet halls. Answering it, Marcus was met with a face that had haunted him for years: his estranged father, weary from the scars of Vietnam, eyes clouded with the shadows of PTSD. Old feelings of anger and abandonment rushed to the surface, mixing with an unexpected responsibility to confront the past. In this moment, everything felt at stake, a swirling storm of emotions brewing inside him. Clara watched the scene unfold, her heart racing. She had seen Marcus's struggle, the way he clung to ambition as his lifeline. He needed to confront his fears to mend the ties that bound him to a family he had tried to forget. With a gentle spirit, she approached him, saying, "Family isn't just about blood, Marcus. It's about healing, about learning to love again, no matter how hard it is. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue." Marcus barely registered Clara's words. He was caught in a moment of internal struggle, bound by his desire for reconciliation and the fear that it would shatter the carefully built facade he had crafted. Just as his father began to speak a hesitant apology, a scandal erupted, shaking his empire to its core. News of corruption within his company leaked, striking at the very foundations of his success and sparking outrage within the community. As the world he built began to crumble, Clara found her voice amidst the chaos. She stood up during a heated confrontation, her words brimming with candor and fierce courage. "Success means nothing if it comes at the expense of your own community. Look at what our neighbors face every day." Her voice echoed through the hall, a striking contrast to Marcus's silent torment. At that moment, Marcus felt the weight of his ambitions lift, replaced by the clarity of a moral awakening. Clara's extraordinary resilience ignited a flicker of hope within him, urging him to confront not only his father but the very essence of what it truly means to succeed. Caught between the haunting memories of his past and the deadly allure of his present, Marcus stood at the precipice. Would he choose the pursuit of ambition or venture bravely into the tangled web of family ties? As sirens wailed in the distance, he could feel destiny pushing him towards a pivotal choice. What path would he take? Would Clara's courage inspire him to reclaim his roots, or would he continue to hide behind the walls he'd built so high? As silence fell in the grand foyer, Marcus felt the walls closing in around him. His father's presence stirred buried emotions like an angry tide. The moment felt surreal, caught between anger and sympathy, bitterness and hope. His father, once a towering figure in Marcus's childhood, now seemed small and broken. The weight of his own father's struggles pressed heavily on his heart, each breath a reminder of the past he wanted to erase. Clara shifted nervously, her instinct telling her that this encounter was pivotal, not just for Marcus but for her as well. She stepped back, allowing father and son a moment to breathe. The air crackled with tension, and she could almost see the invisible strings of fate pulling them together, urging them to connect despite years of separation. "Marcus," his father finally said, his voice trembling. "I know I'm the last person you want to see right now, but I've come to apologize. I never meant to hurt you. Didn't you?" Marcus shot back, emotions boiling over. "You walked away when I needed you the most. When you left, you took part of me with you." His voice echoed, carrying years of pain. Clara stood as an observer, feeling the emotional weight of the confrontation. It was a struggle for identity, an unearthing of buried pain. She leaned against the kitchen counter, her heart racing, a spectator to their drama, yet deeply connected. "I was lost, Marcus," his father continued, his voice breaking. "The war, it changed me. I didn't know how to be a dad when all I could think about were my demons." Marcus closed his eyes, blinking against the wave of emotions rising in him. "You could have tried. You could have come back. I know." It was cowardice. His father's confession hung in the air, permeating the space with a sense of regret. Clara took a step forward, her heart resonating with both men. "You're here now," she said softly. "That counts for something. It's never too late to rebuild." Marcus shot her a look, a mixture of gratitude and frustration. How could she be so hopeful in the face of such devastation? But deep down, he realized her words held a certain truth, the kind that propelled people forward. "Rebuild?" Marcus scoffed, the bitterness reigniting. "How do I rebuild a life that's falling apart? I'm facing accusations I didn't even see coming. My business, my entire world, it's crumbling." Clara stepped closer to him, her voice steady. "Maybe what you built wasn't meant to last, Marcus. Sometimes you have to tear things down to build something meaningful. Something honest." In that moment, her words struck him harder than any betrayal. Marcus felt the knot in his stomach loosen slightly. "I've been so focused on success that I've not considered what truly matters," he admitted. Just then, the sound of a notification pinged from Marcus's phone, jolting him back to reality. It was a news alert. His company's stock had plummeted further. Panic surged in him. The public was reveling in the downfall, and he could almost hear their whispers, feel their disdain. As he looked back at his father, a flicker of realization dawned on him: he was not just fighting for his empire. This battle was for his own sense of worth, for the ties that had almost been severed forever. "Can I trust you to be there this time?" he asked his father, his voice barely a whisper. "I'm here now, son. I promise I will be," his father replied, a subtle warmth in his weary eyes. But just as a sense of unity began to mend their broken bridges, Clara's phone buzzed, breaking the fragile moment. A community meeting was called immediately in reaction to the scandal. Faces in the neighborhood were upset, anger was rising. They wanted blood justice for what they perceived as betrayal. "Marcus, you need to go," Clara urged, her eyes urging him to connect with his community, to mend what was broken outside, just as they struggled to mend their family ties within. "Will you come with me?" Marcus asked, a flicker of pleading in his tone. "Whether you fall or rise, you have to face it. I will be here, Marcus, but this is your fight." With a deep breath, Marcus looked at his father, then back at Clara. He was standing on a precipice. Would he step into the fire, embrace the chaos, and face what had been calling him all along? The sirens grew louder, a storm raging beyond the walls of his estate. Would he reclaim his life, fight for the family he yearned to heal, or retreat into the shadows of his past? As he took a hesitant step forward, decisions loomed large. Would he lead the charge toward redemption, or would he crumble before the weight of expectation once more? The door swung open, the sound of voices mingling with the distant thrum of frustration and fear from the community. A sense of urgency spurred Marcus into action. He glanced back at his father, hesitation painted across both their faces. "It's time," Clara said, her voice firm yet warm. "Remember, this isn't just about you, it's about everyone you've affected." Marcus nodded, stepping outside as Clara followed closely behind. The cool evening air hit him like a splash of cold water. It was refreshing, awakening something inside him. The street was alive with movement. Neighbors gathered, their faces painted with a mixture of anger and hope. They were demanding answers, accountability. As he approached, their murmurs grew louder, each voice carrying its own story of disappointment. "Marcus Larkin. You owe us." Someone shouted, the accusation slicing through the atmosphere. His heart raced at the sound each accusation echoed the whispers of his past failures. He hadn't planned for this, hadn't prepared for the tidal wave of emotion washing over him. But this wasn't a time to retreat. He needed to confront the chaos head-on, not just for himself but for his father standing nervously behind him. "Everyone, please." Marcus raised his hands, feeling the weight of their expectations solidified in the air. "I'm here to talk. I know I've let you down, but I want to make things right." The crowd quieted for a moment, then the heckles resumed. "Talk isn't enough. We want action." That was fair. They deserved more than words. Just as he began to form a response, his father stepped forward, surprising both him and the crowd. "Excuse me," his father's voice cracked, yet there was a fierce steadiness about it. "I'm Marcus's father, and I am part of this." Gasps spread through the crowd. Some recognized him from years ago, others merely stared in disbelief. Marcus felt his heartbeat in his throat. His father hadn't just returned physically, he was stepping into the light of their shared consequences. "I walked away once," his father continued, "and I regret that more than I can say. But Marcus is not alone. We are here together to face the truth." A ripple of surprise and curiosity flowed through the assembly. Marcus could hardly believe what he was witnessing. The man he had thought weak and defeated was standing tall, ready to take on the storm by his side. "Together, we will make amends," Marcus added, gaining some of his own courage from his father's reassurances. "We will listen to your concerns, and we will rebuild our community." The atmosphere shifted, slightly less hostility, more intrigue. Questions began to rise, discussions ignited. For the first time in a while, Marcus felt a flicker of hope. Maybe Clara was right. Maybe this was a chance and opportunity to not just salvage his reputation, but to reconnect with those he had unintentionally hurt. But as the tension eased, a shimmer of movement caught his eye. A figure slipped into the back of the crowd, a familiar face that sent chills down his spine. It was his business rival, a sly smile creeping across their lips as they observed the unraveling situation. "Just wait until the truth comes out," the rival purred, their voice barely audible over the crowd, but it was enough to freeze Marcus in place. What truth? What did they know? Something dark was simmering beneath the surface, and he felt a sense of dread creeping back in. "Marcus, focus." Clara whispered urgently, squeezing his arm. "Stay with us." With a deep breath, he turned back to the crowd and pressed on, but now the weight of uncertainty rested within him like a storm cloud. The moment was fragile, and he needed to not only win back the trust of those in front of him but also prepare for the unexpected fallout. As his resolve strengthened, he realized that the truth was a double-edged sword, and the real fight was just beginning. In that swirling chaos, would his audience be ready to accept his plea for redemption? Or would the past come crashing down, dragging him further into darkness? Marcus's thoughts swirled in a chaotic mix of adrenaline and anxiety. He took a deep breath, grounding himself. The crowd's eyes remained fixed on him, each gaze a potential verdict, each whisper an echo of the same questions that haunted him for months. His heart raced, he felt the weight of a community's hope and anger resting squarely on his shoulders. "Let's talk about what really matters," he shouted, his voice steady but carrying an urgency he hoped would engage them. "Not just my mistakes but how we can fix what's broken together." The murmur of concern shifted, curiosity pulling some in. "Fix what, Marcus?" came a voice from the back. "You've already done a lot of damage." Clara stepped beside him, her presence grounding. "We know trust doesn't come back easily," she said, her tone calming. "But we believe you deserve a chance to make things right, and we're here to support that. It's not just on Marcus, it's on all of us." Her words triggered a change in the atmosphere. Neighbors exchanged looks, skeptics paused, and slowly, voices quieted. The door to dialogue had creaked open, and it was worth pushing through. "We need to hear your stories," Marcus urged them, feeling his resolve harden. "What can we do to help? What do you still need from us?" A woman stepped forward, her arms crossed tightly, her face lined with concern. "You think we'll just forget what happened? You lost our jobs. Families went hungry because of your decisions." He nodded, ready to absorb the hurt. "I know I can't fix everything, but I want to listen and understand what you went through. I want to help. If we don't face the truth, we'll never get anywhere." As the echoes of his words lingered, the crowd began to speak. One by one, voices rose, each sharing tales of hardship, loss, and frustration. The more he listened, the more he felt that weight lift off his shoulders and onto this shared truth. Each story kindled a sense of urgency, slowly turning anger into possibilities, yet, in the backdrop, Marcus could still sense the revolves' presence. They lingered like a dark cloud, observing, waiting for a moment to unleash chaos. He could feel their satisfaction in seeing the cracks in his armor. "Marcus!" Clara cut through the noise, her urgency snapping him back. "We need to keep this constructive. Focus on what you can offer." But just as he began to respond, a commotion stirred in the distance. People gasped, pointing at the figure that had remained hidden until now. It was a local news crew, cameras rolling, reporters eager to capture the unfolding scene. The air thickened with tension again. "Let us make sure this message gets across," Clara said, eyes shining with determination. "Show them that you're more than just a man in trouble. Show them you're ready to be a leader." Marcus took a deep breath, pushing back feelings of fear and nervousness. The presence of cameras changed everything, it brought both opportunity and risk. He needed to turn this into a platform for change, to step beyond just addressing personal failures. "I want to promise every single one of you," right here he gestured to the crowd and then the cameras, "together we can create real solutions, a community that thrives. Let us shift the narrative from blame to action." The crowd began to respond, some nodding, others breaking into spirited murmurs of tentatively hopeful agreement. But somewhere in the back, he caught a knowing look from his rival, a smirk that sent chills down his spine. What did they have planned? Marcus leaned into the moment, feeling the pulse of the crowd surge as he continued. "Together, we can build something beautiful from the ashes of this. Who's ready to join me in this fight?" As voices rallied around him, he saw hope sparking in the eyes of those staring back. Yet, the threat from the shadows loomed larger than ever. Uncertainty filled him, and he knew that this battle wasn't over, it was just beginning. What could his rival expose that would shatter this fragile facade? Was the unity sparking in that moment strong enough to withstand looming threats? As the crowd's energy surged, Marcus felt a pulse of hope, yet it was accompanied by the heavy weight of fear, reminding him that the truth could rise at any moment, ready to topple everything he was fighting for. Marcus felt the energy of the crowd push him forward, the growing agitation from those who still didn't believe him slicing through the air with palpable tension. He scanned their faces, fear navigating through him like electric currents. Clara stood nearby, her steadfast gaze supporting him, but he could still sense the rival lurking at the edges, ready to exploit any misstep. "Listen." His voice cut through the murmurs, "I know my history. I know there are wounds that have not healed. But I'm willing to change to work for this community." Applause erupted from some, a soothing balm for his frayed nerves, but the uncertainty of the skeptics hung heavy like a thick fog. A tall man with a stern face stepped forward. "You talk about change like it's easy," he shouted. "What about the people you hurt? The families left behind because of your decisions?" "I won't promise I can fix everything overnight," Marcus responded, swallowing hard. What I can promise is that I'll listen, and I'll fight for every single person here. Listen. The man spat. That's not enough. We need action, not pretty speeches. The crowd began to stir again, anxiety ebbing and flowing in waves. Marcus felt sweat bead on his brow, but he stepped toward the man, heart pounding like a drum in his chest. You're absolutely right. I can't ask for understanding without action. What do you need from me? Let us put forward a plan. Clara stepped beside him. Let us get our heads together, find actionable steps we can work on as a community. We want to hear your ideas, your needs. No more silencing voices, we're going to work together. Just as the crowd began to hum with new energy, the rival's figure pushed through the throng, smirking, a dark harbinger of doom. This is a nice show, Marcus, they sneered. But the truth will come out sooner or later. Marcus swallowed hard, recognizing the threat that lingered in their tone. What do you mean? He asked, but his voice wavered. Everyone here knows you've got skeletons in your closet, they taunted, eyes glinting with malice. You can't hide forever. The crowd fell silent, shifting uneasily. A whispered rumor passed through them, each individual processing the implication that hung heavy in the air. Marcus's heart raced. What did they know? Clara stepped forward, fury flashing in her eyes. Don't listen to them. This is about our community moving forward. Let us channel this energy into something good. But the doubt had flared in the crowd's eyes like wildfire. Uncertainty crackled, and he could feel the collective energy shifting away from hope and toward fear. I get that trust is hard, Marcus started, his voice steadier than he felt. But every one of you deserves a chance to heal and grow. That means we open this up now. Whatever the rival thinks they know, let us address it. The crowd stirred once more, but a few remained skeptical. A woman raised her voice, what are you truly hiding, Marcus? He grabbed onto the honesty of her question. I've made mistakes, and I'm responsible for a lot of pain. I've been selfish. But I'm ready to break those walls. Whatever it takes. For a moment, their murmurs fell silent. He could feel his heart thrumming in his chest, the conflict of fear and courage battling for control. Could the truth be the source of his redemption or his downfall? Then all at once, the rival laughed, a chilling sound. Keep telling yourself that, but you'll see how wrong you are. His words echoed through the silence, and Marcus felt the ground beneath him shift. Just when he thought he could steer the narrative, doubt and fear surged back with renewed strength that he needed to regain control. We'll address any shadows lurking beneath the surface. Together, we'll stand against this. I need you all to stand with me to seek the truth. As he spoke, a flicker of determination reignited in the crowd, but he could sense the looming threat. Was this battle for their trust, or was it the beginning of an even darker struggle? There's still time, came a voice from within the crowd, and hope floated gently atop the rising tension, though it was fragile, like a candle in the wind. Marcus realized that the battle was complex, layered in vulnerabilities and the looming whispers that threatened to bring him down. He understood now that the fight wouldn't be just against the rival but against the ghosts of his past. As the crowd shifted, he paused, fear creeping back. What if the truth they were vying for would do more damage than the lies? Could he truly lead them forward without coming undone? And what would they uncover if they dug deeper? Would it be the expose he feared the most or a chance for real healing? In that moment of turmoil, he felt the stakes raise ever higher, leaving him more uncertain than ever before. Marcus's heart thundered in his ears, drowning out even the whispers that curled through the crowd like smoke. He knew he had to seize the moment, but doubt clawed at him. Could he really face whatever was lurking in his past? Look, I know the shadows of my decisions haunt this community, he continued, fixing his gaze on the man who had challenged him. But I refuse to run from it any longer. If you want action, then let us act. Let us be transparent. Let us confront everything, here and now. The man regarded him, skepticism still etched in his features, but the murmurs in the crowd shifted subtly, hints of curiosity puncturing the heavy air. Clara remained at his side, her presence grounding him. Together, she echoed, her voice resolute, we're not just building a future, we're understanding our roots. Each story, each wound matters. We can't heal unless we face what hurt us. Okay, then, Marcus exclaimed, emboldened by her words. What do you all want to share? What do you need from me to feel safe moving forward? A rustle passed through the crowd, a fickle mix of hope and tension tightening the atmosphere. He recognized that this was a turning point, a gamble. Either he would break free from his own chains, or they would pull him down. One by one, voices rose, ranging from confusion to straight anger, each adding weight to the tension. You need to own up to your actions, not just talk, a woman urged, her eyes fierce with loyalty to those they had lost. I know it's frustrating. I promise to fight for accountability, Marcus replied earnestly. I want to listen. I committed mistakes and I'm ready to share my story, my truth. The rival smirked, arms crossed defiantly. And just how deep does that truth run, Marcus? Are you prepared for the skeletons to come out? Tell me what you know. He shouted back, frustration spilling over. The anxiety that had clutched at him morphed into urgency. Whatever I've done, let us face it together. I will not pretend anymore. For a heartbeat, silence reigned as the crowd weighed his words. Then, a man stepped forward from the back, a familiar face that made Marcus's chest tighten. Simon, a friend turned adversary, had been present during the dark days of Marcus's decisions. What will you say about the time you chose profits over families worried about eviction? Simon's voice cut through the quiet like a knife. You knew what was happening but chose to look away while we suffered. Marcus's breath hitched, raw grief swelling inside him. I can't absolve my actions with apologies, Simon. But I want you to know I'm sorry. I should have fought alongside you. I'm here now, willing to mend what I can. Simon shook his head, disappointment etched into his features. We need more than words, Marcus. We've watched you walk away from us. The crowd buzzed with agreement and discontent, every voice a reminder of a life he had neglected. The prospect of their collective hurt being revealed opened a wound he had tried to keep buried. I can't erase my past, Marcus said, grief tightening around his own heart, but I can promise to be here, to listen, to build. What if we create an action plan together? One that addresses your needs for the future. Cautious murmurs rippled through the crowd. A sense of possibility began to flicker. Could this be the path that led them toward healing instead of just more conflict? Let's talk solutions, Clara rallied, her eyes shining with determination. We deserve to have input. Nobody here should feel unheard ever again. But still, the rival stalked the perimeter, eyes glinting with malice. You can't change what's already done, Marcus. The past won't let you go. You should prepare for the reckoning. His words loomed over them like an impending storm, the very tension shifting again in the air. Doubts resurfaced in Marcus's mind like shadows creeping along the walls. What if the reckoning was unavoidable? Would they simply unearth buried betrayals that would shatter the fragile hope he was trying to build? As he braced himself against the tide of uncertainty, he realized the hardest battle lay ahead. Not just with the crowd, or the rival who thrived on fear, but within himself. In choosing to lead, he would have to confront his deepest scars. And now, he needed answers. What truth would he discover about himself, and at what cost? The journey toward redemption felt as perilous as walking a tightrope, and beneath him, the ground teemed with obstacles that could drag him down at any moment. Could Marcus bear the weight of the truth? Or would he discover that some secrets should remain buried? The moment hung in the air, thick with tension. Marcus took a deep breath, aware that the path ahead could be a mix of salvation and ruin. He scanned the faces in the crowd, their expressions fractured between anger, sorrow, and a glimmer of hope. He was standing at the intersection of his past mistakes and the potential for redemption. Listen, Marcus began, his voice low yet steady. I know trust isn't given lightly after everything that has happened. But let's not just dwell on what has been lost. Let us talk about what can be found again. Simon scoffed. Found? You think it's that easy? Your words are just air, Marcus. You've got to show us you mean it. A murmur of agreement rippled through the crowd. Clara squeezed Marcus's hand, grounding him again. She was unwavering, fiery. Let us start small. Everyone here has a part in this. How about we open up instead of casting blame? What do you mean, open up? Simon challenged, crossing his arms tighter. You're the one with the microphone. You start. Marcus felt the weight of their eyes pressing down on him, and his heart pounded painfully in his chest. This was it. It was time. I'll begin with the hardest thing. I didn't just turn away from the community, I turned away from my own values. I thought ambition meant success, but I lost sight of what that meant to others. I was too focused on the numbers, on the bottom line. I forgot about the people who needed help. The crowd shifted, some faces softening while others hardened further. Your apologies don't mean much when there are families still struggling, a voice called out. I get that, Marcus said, desperation creeping into his tone. I should have fought for you. For your families. I can't change the past, but I'm here now, and I want to be part of the solution. But I need your stories, I need your truths, too. Slowly, a woman stepped forward, her eyes guarded. My sister lost our home, Marcus. She worked hard, did everything right, and still she lost everything because of decisions you made. How can you sit here and ask us to trust you? I can't expect you to trust me, Marcus replied, his voice trembling slightly with emotion. But I'm asking for a chance to make things right. Please, tell me what I can do to help. How can I support your sister and all the others affected? As the crowd hesitated, a new voice broke through. It was an older man, his features worn but wise. It's not just about support. It's about being honest with us. What were your motivations? Were they worth the pain it caused? Marcus met the man's gaze, feeling exposed. I thought I was doing what was necessary for growth. But I didn't understand, I didn't listen. There was a pause, heavy with unspoken words, before he added, and that's the truth I carry. I wish I could take it back. In that moment, customers inclined their heads, weighing his honesty. Clara stepped forward, her voice ringing clear. Maybe it's not just an apology we need, maybe we need to build something where everyone is involved, where it's not just Marcus talking over everyone else. There, amidst the crowd, a subtle shift began. Little by little, people started to nod, some even murmuring their agreement. The air around them sparked with possibility. What if we all shared our stories? Clara suggested. What if we created a space to really listen to one another? The rival in the back scoffed, dreams don't build bridges, actions do. What then? A committee of broken people? But brokenness can be a source of strength, Marcus interjected, his voice steady and rising. We need to confront that first. Everyone carries a piece of this history, and we can do something remarkable together, starting by listening. As murmurs waved through the crowd, Marcus felt hope flickering once again. But questions still loomed like storm clouds on the horizon. Could they truly unite to confront their shared pain and make lasting change together? Each heartbeat echoed in his ears. Could he really lead them through this tempest, or would hidden truths pull them back into darkness? The battle was far from over, and the reckoning was just getting started. What would be unveiled as their stories began to intertwine? Would they find common ground, or would buried resentments erupt into something unmanageable? As the air thickened with unresolved emotions, one thing was clear: Marcus was about to learn just how deep the wounds went. The tension in the air shifted as Clara stepped back, glancing at Marcus with a mix of apprehension and encouragement. The crowd's chatter faded, replaced by an almost palpable silence. Each face revealed unspoken fears and pain, all deeply rooted in the consequences of past decisions. All right, Simon said, breaking the silence, let's take a step back. Sharing stories, fine. I'll start. He uncrossed his arms, revealing the vulnerability hiding beneath his tough exterior. My brother lost his job when the cut started. It messed with our family. We had to scrape by, making choices we never thought we'd have to make. His voice trembled slightly, but he pushed on. He was always the reliable one, took care of Mom and me. When you messed up, Marcus, you took away his opportunity to provide. He's not the same man anymore. And I hate that you made that happen. Marcus absorbed every word, feeling the sting of Simon's pain like a physical blow. I had no idea, he began, but he stopped himself. This wasn't about him anymore. A woman in her late 40s raised her hand, hesitating before speaking, as if the memories cost her something. My daughter, she started, tears brimming in her eyes, worked for years to make a life for herself. She poured her heart into every job, and in the end, all of it fell apart because of the ripple effects of your decisions. She shook her head, disappointed. You don't just lose a job, you lose your sense of stability, your hope. She is still trying to find her way back. But she can't because of you. Marcus felt the weight of the room shift sharply. Their pains felt like stones in his chest, piling up and threatening to crush him. He couldn't fight the rising tide of regret. Each story pierced deeper until it became a collective wound that resonated within him, a raw nerve laid bare. I'm sorry, truly sorry, Marcus said, but that felt too shallow, too easy. What can I do? I want to help. I want to make a difference. Words are not enough, the older man's voice broke through again, more forceful this time. Repair takes efforts, it takes time. If we're going to do this, we need real commitment, something tangible. What does that look like, Marcus? I can start a fund, Marcus blurted. To help with job training and support. For people who've lost everything, to give them a way forward. Hope flickered, but he could see the skepticism lingering, hanging over him like a weight. Just money won't fix us, Clara added gently. Have you thought about engaging directly with the community? Letting them take the lead? The thought settled on him. You mean, let them help shape what comes next? The realization hit like a soft punch. It was a small step, but it felt monumental all at once. Yes, Clara urged. Give them the platform to voice needs, to plan, to build. The crowd began buzz with renewed energy, uncertainty mixing with cautious optimism. It wasn't everything, but it felt like a beginning, a spark in the darkness. His heart raced, not with fear but with thrilling anticipation. This could work. This could be the start of healing. Yet as the murmur of ideas and possibilities danced around him, a still, small voice nagged at the back of his mind. What if they uncovered painful truths he wasn't ready to face? He sensed the weight of their histories, aware that not everyone would be ready to forgive or forget. Let's bring everyone together, Marcus proposed, fueled by a newfound determination. I want to start a community meeting, let's see what we can build from there. Let's share our dreams and our needs. But as he said those words, he could almost feel the walls around him shake with the weight of their pain still hovering close. Would they truly embrace this chance? Or would feelings of anger and hurt bleed into their discussions, fracturing any hope of unity? The questions lingered, palpable like the humidity in the air, offering no easy answers. It felt like standing on the brink of something monumental, a precipice between fear and courage. What truths would rise to the surface when they began to dig deeper? Would they dare bring out the skeletons of their struggles and lay them bare, or would old grudges fester and threaten to tear them apart yet again? Marcus held his breath, wondering what the next step would really reveal. The moment was electric. As the crowd shifted, glancing at one another, Marcus felt himself held in the grip of their shared uncertainty. Encouraged by Clara, there was a flicker of hope, but the fear lingered in the corners of every focused gaze. I'll help organize it, Clara said, her voice steadying. We can create a space for everyone to feel safe to talk, to share. It's important. It's a start. Marcus nodded, grateful for her support. Yes, let us set up a time. A place where we can really listen. Simon leaned forward, the fight palpable in his eyes. You're making promises now. But talk is cheap. We need action. We want follow-through. He glanced over at the older man who had challenged Marcus earlier. They exchanged a brief but intense look, both weighing the gravity of this moment. Many thoughts rushed through Marcus's mind. How could he transform his knowledge of corporate maneuvering into something that felt real? Promise me, Simon pressed, you'll keep showing up. No matter how uncomfortable it gets. At that moment, the weight of those words ignited something new within Marcus. I promise, he said, feeling them resonate deeply. I'll be here. I'll work together, with you all. Around him, the tension shifted again. Conversations began to spark, threads of ideas weaving together. The initial discomfort seemed to melt away, replaced by a sense of purpose. Discussions blossomed as people began throwing out ideas about workshops, classes, and ways to create a real framework for job training. Each suggestion lit a small fire, a hopeful flicker in the dim room, but just as the atmosphere brightened, a voice cut through the excitement, heavy with skepticism. And what if this is just another round of empty gestures? Another chance to get our hopes up for nothing? It was a young woman, her eyes narrowed as she looked at Marcus. How do we know you won't vanish the moment things get tough? A murmur of agreement rippled through the crowd, echoing her skepticism. Marcus felt heat rise to his cheeks. He understood the fear. After all, he had been the cause of so much heartache. I get it, Marcus said, running a hand through his hair, feeling the weight of expectation on him. But I'm here for the long haul. This community deserves more than fleeting promises. As the words left his mouth, the authenticity seemed to wrap around him, weaving a new understanding. They wanted to see him vulnerable too, open to challenges and honest about his missteps. He lowered his voice, sincerity ringing through. I've made mistakes that have cost you dearly. I can't erase those, and I won't try to make excuses. I just want the chance to help build something together. Starting this meeting is my way to show I care. I can't guarantee a fairy tale, I can promise commitment. The crowd fell silent, each person weighing his sincerity. He could see uncertainty dancing in their eyes, but along with it, maybe just maybe something else. At that moment, Clara stepped forward, her gaze unwavering. If we're all committing to this, let us also commit to holding each other accountable. It's not just his responsibility, it's ours too. Marcus felt a small rush of relief. Clara was there, grounding him, urging the crowd toward unity. Slowly, Simon nodded, the tension in his shoulders easing just a bit. All right, let us give it a shot. But know this, Marcus, we're watching. We're not backing down. As the crowd began to brainstorm ideas for their first meeting, Marcus felt a wave of hope wash over him. Something was shifting, he could almost sense the old wounds beginning to heal. Yet in the back of his mind, small pieces of doubt lingered. Could he truly be the catalyst for change? The room buzzed with possibility, but would their hope hold fast in the face of reality? As the meeting continued to unfold around him, he steeled himself for whatever came next. One thought kept echoing back: what would be unearthed when he began to really listen? Would a deeper harmony emerge, or would buried resentments threaten to resurface and unravel everything? The flame of determination ignited once more within him. He couldn't turn back now. The journey ahead wouldn't be easy, but it was a journey worth taking. And as the last words of encouragement filled the space, he knew that this was just the beginning. What truths awaited him as they dug deeper? Would the weight of their histories let them find healing, or would it thwart any chance of reconciliation? Marcus stood among the crowd, feeling the weight of their expectations pressing heavily on his shoulders. The energy buzzed around him, tension and hope coiling like a tightly wound spring. They were gathered for the first community meeting, an opportunity to mend, rebuild, and share the truths that lay buried beneath layers of pain and resentment. Clara stood by his side, her unwavering presence anchoring him amidst the storm of emotions. Together, they had encouraged everyone to voice their stories, to break the silence that had barred them from healing. So many eyes were fixed on Marcus, filled with a mix of skepticism and tentative hope. He took a deep breath, steadied himself, and began again. "This is our chance," he called out, his voice vibrating with commitment. "We've all faced struggles, felt pain, and lost opportunities. But we're not here just to relive those moments, we're here to forge a path forward." A rustle curled through the crowd. Clara's steady gaze offered him strength. It was a reminder he needed to lean on his vulnerability and share in their humanity that he gestured to Simon, who had reluctantly agreed to share his story before. "I want to hear from all of you. We're building something new, and every voice matters." Simon stepped forward, and the crowd quieted. "You talk about change, but we need to know it's more than just words. Can we trust that you'll follow through?" It was the question Marcus had been dreading, the challenge that hovered just beneath the surface. But as he met Simon's gaze, he felt a flicker of something deep within him. "Trust isn't given, it's earned. I can only ask for the chance to prove that I'm committed." A soft murmur passed through the crowd, he could sense their curiosity peaking. Little by little, their walls cracked, faint glimmers of acceptance shining through. Then a woman stepped up. "I lost my job when some of your decisions impacted the company. You talk about wanting to support us, but we need specifics," she said gently yet firmly. "Exactly." A voice called from the back. "What does that mean?" Marcus nodded, the weight of scrutiny heavy on him but invigorating at the same time. "It means we'll create job training programs. It means investing in our community not just financially, but with our time and listening to what you need. Not just once, but continuously." "Is that enough?" Clara challenged, her fierce spirit driving the discussion deeper. "Are you prepared to be vulnerable if we need more from you?" "I promise," he answered, feeling the urgency in the air. "If I slip up, if I fail, I'll do what it takes to fix it. I need your help to guide me. Then we can build something meaningful," Clara encouraged as the crowd seemed to inhale together. As they continued, voices rose with ideas, some sharing hopes for training sessions, others advocating for a stronger safety net for families. Suggestions flowed, each adding to a tapestry of change, ideas turning into plans that could breathe life back into their community. Laughter began to erupt at times, mixing with the tears of those who were sharing their worries. It was a beautiful thing to witness the beginning of a transformation. Just when the atmosphere began to lighten, the door swung open with a creak. Marcus turned, heart racing, as the rivals stepped into the room, a smirk still plastered on their face. "You think you can heal this chaos? This is a farce." His words cut through the moment like a knife, but Marcus found himself standing tall against the wave of doubt that threatened the fragile bond forming among them. "No," he said loudly, "it's not a farce. It's a beginning. We're taking back our narrative. We're not defined by the mistakes of the past." Gathering strength from the crowd and his growing resolve, Marcus continued. "Anyone who wants to stay in the dark can do so, but we're lighting a torch to illuminate our path forward. The past is there to inform us, not to control us." In that moment, he recognized the power of their shared experiences. People began to clap, a stirring rhythm of hope resounding in the atmosphere they shared. Belief that they could reclaim their future from the shadows of the past. "If we can stand together through this moment, we can stand together moving forward," Clara said, echoing the sentiments blooming across the gathering. The energy soared, doubts dissipated like mist before the sun. As they continued to share, Marcus felt the knots in his heart loosening. Their community was reclaiming its voice, stitching together a tapestry of stories, pain, and resilience. Night began to fall, but the meeting didn't dwindle. Instead, it transformed into something deeper, more personal. Moments of laughter broke through the tension, each laughter thread tightening the bond among the villagers. As faces lightened, emotions blossomed. In this room, they were stronger together. They found a new sense of belonging, and each person became the architect of their collective future instead of just the audience to Marcus's redemption story. As the evening drew to a close, Marcus felt raw energy pulsing in the air. Together, they would keep forging ahead. The scars would remain, but healing was within reach. And for the first time, he believed it too. Marcus knew he'd anchor himself here, amidst the chaos and storms, facing whatever truths surfaced next. Together with Clara and every person in that room, they would rise from their past missteps not just as individuals, but as a community, and it was at that moment amidst the warmth of shared hopes and courage that Marcus understood, rebuilding was possible when they listened. Together, they could create a future fueled by trust, hope, and unity. Now, more than ever, he was ready to fight for that vision, ready to step into the light and claim the possibility of tomorrow. You need to subscribe now to the channel to not miss the next exclusive stories. This is the moment to show your support. Smash that like button now to feed the algorithm. Comment below with your reactions and feelings about this inspiring ending. And please, share this video instantly with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation. Don't wait not even one more second. Your support truly matters.